So starting with the basics, I am here at the Compub landing page, the Compub central web page. It is just compub.wcc.state.md.us. You do not need to put web when you type that in. It's just our website with Compub in front of it. Now, when you come to our site, you're going to see our landing page. Our landing page right now looks a little bit different than how it will look in production, as in when it releases on August 14th. It will have a bit of a different color scheme and a design, but it will have the same content. We will have release notes that will show what's upcoming, what has been released, a bit of a roadmap, as well as current news, all things Compub. And then on the dashboard on the right, we have the work portal, which is where we will be going to do our work come the 14th rather. And we have the test and training portal that's what we'll be using today. And you guys will also have access to this next month to go ahead and start gearing up to get ready for Compub. We have a link to Legacy WFMS and a link for user registration. As far as getting registered, you guys, we already have your emails, obviously, so we will be sending you guys your own registration links. This is for independent registration. So we're going to start by going into the test and training portal. So logging into Compub is extremely quick and easy. So you're going to want to keep your cell phone handy if you're logging in from your PC. Because if you make use of something called two-factor authentication to keep your account safe, you guys know what two-factor authentication is. You probably use it at work or in any other sort of application, maybe with your bank, where you go ahead and enter in your username, which would be your email that we signed up and registered with, and your password. And when I click that sign in, it's going to prompt me saying we have the following number on record for you. We can send a code via text or phone. So it's either going to send the code by text or give me some sort of automated voice call, which will read out the code. Verification code is going to need to be entered. Once this code is entered, you'll automatically be taken in. You do not have to press enter. When the proper code is entered, you will automatically land inside of the inbox. So with our inbox, with most websites and online applications, once you actually log in to the website or the application, there's a whole nother landing page. When we log in, our landing page is the inbox. Now, this isn't just your regular inbox. This isn't any sort of email inbox. This can be looked at as a dashboard due to all the inherent functionality that you have on this page. Now, what functionality do we have? Well, just starting with the inbox alone, the inbox is going to display all of your active processes and their pending activities. Now, a process is essentially a paper form that has truly come to life as an electronic form in Compub, or a WFMS process that has been improved upon in Compub. Now, processes and cases that can be used interchangeably, case and claim cannot. A claim is what it's always been. It's what an injured worker files in order to receive compensation from the commission. A case number, as you see, is referencing the process. We have claimant questionnaire with our prefix CLQ and 88 right there. So we can think of a claim as a sum of its parts, as we have cases for statement of wage information, filing issues, things like that, things that would normally be paper forms. Those are our cases. Now, we all have all of our activities. All processes consist of activities. There may be submissions. They start with submissions. We may have additional pieces for you guys to do. We'll go through some activities today, but you'll be able to see all of your activities in CompHub. We start new action in CompHub. So this table right here and any table in CompHub can be sorted by the table header. When you scroll over the table header, you will see a double-sided arrow. We can click this double-sided arrow and it will go ahead and sort. Sorting based on any of these will work. It will go back and forth between ascending and descending, whether that is a numeric, alphanumeric, or a date. It is going to go back and forth between ascending and descending. Popular ones would be the hearing date and activity due dates. And speaking of that, as far as filtering by due dates, we have in this bottom left-hand corner, a count of each process's status based on activity due dates. Now, activity due dates, they are defined by filing deadlines, commission business rules, i.e. COMAR, and some things that we've decided internally as well. That's going to be displayed in this bottom left-hand corner. We have a stoplight-esque icon system, green, showing that our activity due date is further out. We have time to work on this. I do not have any pending in this inbox, but if I were to click that, that would be some that are upcoming. The date has not yet passed, but is within 2 days and it is about to approach. And then we have the reds that are clearly past their due date. Now, if we are working using this system, it is recommended to work from left to right. So we utilize a first in, first out kind of methodology. Click inbox to return to your full view. So normally we would have a little bit more. We'll see later on in the demo, we'll have a little bit more, but the sidebar is going to contain collapsible section where you can view all of your active cases that we have here by subcategory, and you can view a count of them all together, or you can view a count of them as they are in their categories. Now, none of these are going to be ones that you guys will be using frequently, but we will have processes that, of course, will be used quite frequently, or you may be receiving quite frequently. We can pin that using this flag icon. When you log in, instead of going straight to all cases, it will go to this, whatever you have chosen, and it will always be pinned up here at the top. You can unpin it at any time by clicking that flag. And one of the most important parts is right up here. You're going to find your initials. So you can click or tap your initials. And I say click or tap because CompHub is device agnostic. Any device with a supported web browser or supported web browsers being any modern day version of Microsoft Edge, Google Chrome, or Mozilla Firefox will work. Internet Explorer is not supported. Any of those will work. It does not matter what device you are using, whether you're using a PC, a laptop, your phone, a tablet, your TV, refrigerators even have these now. The only thing you'll notice is that your resolution may change and the way things are displayed may change a little bit. So using a larger screen is generally easier to work with, but we are not constraining you to work from one place. You can work anywhere, anytime. So if I click or tap this, It's going to give me some basic accessibility settings where I can change my default font size. It's going to let me look at the version of the application we're using, look at the privacy policy, and most importantly, what we're going to be doing is using it to log out at the end of our sessions. So now we can see we have a little bit more here. We have a little bit more here on the sidebar for you to be able to see how we have these things broken down. We've got a little bit more processes that are in the pending stage, upcoming activity due dates. So we've got our sidebar all filled up. Activity due date is a popular one to sort by. So this is important. So anything that you guys have available to you as far as any process you may have availability to, you guys can go ahead and type that case number or that claim number directly in to the search bar and go ahead and find it and pull up whatever that case or claim may happen to be. You can type directly into that search bar. Keep that in mind as we progress through this demo, that we can search using the typing directly into the search bar when we're in the inbox only. So starting a process is done from this inbox as well. That's why we call it a bit of a dashboard. So by clicking or tapping on Start New Action, it's going to automatically bring up the processes you used in the past. Now, in 26 days, you're not going to have any recent processes. It's all going to be blank. So what we're needing going to do is click this clipboard icon. It's going to take us to all the processes. These processes are broken down into the same categories we have over here, but this will show you the full listing of all your processes that you can initiate, while this will just have the process that you currently have activities for. So while I'm in this, I can also search. When I click into one of these, if I've accidentally clicked into one of these groups, I can back out by clicking this or clicking this. I can also go in and search for what I'm looking for by just typing directly in. They'll say search, and I can just type directly in, click in, type in like you normally would in Google or any of your major search engines. So when we start a process, we're generally presented with a start form. Now, before we jump into the start form, there is one thing we have to get out the way as far as semantics go. An electronic notification versus an e-notice. We do not want to get these confused. So your inbox has your activities. Your inbox is really where you're going to be working. Your inbox is an inbox of work. It is not an inbox of communication. The inbox of communication will remain the same inbox for communication that you use now, and that is your email inbox. So electronic notifications generally have the same subject line. Some of you guys' processes will be a little bit different, that you guys are a little bit special in some of these processes, but generally it's going to be the claimant's last name, the claim number, and then the process. There is a static header that's always going to say there is no activity in Compo related to your claim. The body is going to have the action that has happened. So the body is what's going to be the dynamic on what's changed. Depending on what process and what step of the process you are in, you'll see something different here. You're generally going to see Please see claim documents for complete details. And then the bottom footer text is going to remain the same, where it says log in to Compub or click this link. The only thing that will change is that link. That link, as you can see, has our case number. When we click that link, it is going to take us into whatever this is referring to. This specific email is referring to the issues withdrawn notice, and the issues withdrawn notice you'll be taken directly into that. When you click this, it's going to take you into the system, or you can log in as you normally would, as we just did. Clicking the link is obviously going to be a lot quicker, but if you are already logged into Compub while you receive this notification, you can also just go in straight to the inbox, either or. At the bottom, or should I say the appended to the second page, the final page of our system generated documentation, we have something called notification distribution list. That is going to show what parties have elected to receive electronic notification versus the parties that require notification by mail or other service per COMAR. If you are an attorney, you automatically, by default, are signed up to receive electronic notifications. So, Compub is built on top of a brand new platform that we're using, Wasaji. So in order to successfully navigate through this system, it's important to familiarize ourselves with this platform and some of the new controls and some of the existing ones that we've already used in the past that are available to you guys to get your work done. So here we have our start form, our start new action. Most of our processes begin with this. Generally, the start new action form is used to creating a link between a case and a claim. Now, in this case, no pun intended, we're using it to actually create the claim, so it is a bit more extensive of a start form. We'll see a bit more simplified ones later on in the demo. So we're going to just jump right into the C51 process, because we can see a lot of the controls are implemented in there. And by controls, I mean buttons, drop downs, things like that. So the first thing we have is a radio button. It's going to ask us, are we following this request with an existing claim number? If we choose yes, we're going to have to provide that claim number. If we choose no, it is going to have us select the type of medical claim using the dropdown and enter in the information. Now, when we're entering in this information, keep in mind, red lines denote required fields. It will not let you continue whether you are in a process or trying to start a process. If there is a red line beside something and there has not been a value selected or provided, you will not be able to continue. Now, just because in the things with the red lines to go forward does not mean that you should not be giving all the possible information that we can get. We want to be filling in every single bit of information that we have. If we don't, we could end up delaying processing. It may be sent back to you for revision. In the case scenario, it could be rejected. So today we're going to use an existing case number, or claim number rather. Keep in mind that if we do create a new claim from scratch, and we put in the email, if we put the email in and the user's registered to Compub, they're going to receive the notice that the claim has been filed. They'll receive an e-notification and they'll be able to access that claim. It's just the same. If they are not in Compub, a registered user of Compub, they will still receive an email letting them know what has happened, that the claim has been filed. And they will also give them a registration link for Compub for them to come in and have the full scope of what a claimant can do for themselves. So we're going to start with a prescription only type. We're going to use an existing claim number. Now, if we have our claim number, That's always going to return one match. That always helps. But if we don't have the claim number, we need to use a combination of maybe the last name, the accident date, the last four, and the accident date. Whatever we can do to find one single matching claim, we'll put those in, and the results will appear here. Now we're going to go ahead and input a claim number. Click search. Claim information has appeared. I'm going to select. And this is a consolidated process where you can withdraw. If there was an existing claim already, you could just select withdraw that medical claim, but we're not withdrawing the claim. We're going to create one. When we go into that start form, when we're trying to create a claim or a case, either or, we're going to have checks up front to make sure that we have access, to make sure that there is nothing being misfiled. So this is going to pull the claim information, claimant details from a combination of the claim file as well as your user profile, which we'll go over later. The employer details are pulled from the claim file. The insured details are pulled from the profile, as well as if there was a healthcare provider associated with this, which we wanted to show in the other one, it would be right here. So we're using this is the prescription only version. We have a link right here for Micromedics. So if you have any passwords that you will be using with Compub in conjunction with Compub, in this instance, Micromedics, you want to keep those handy. We have a link right there for you guys to look anything up if you need to. Compub contains a lot of tables. You saw the biggest and most important one, which is the inbox. Some of these tables are view only, but many of these tables have us add records. We're going to be adding a record here. As you see, we've added a row here. So what we can do here is enter in the NDC number. I'm not going to pretend that I do know them. Or how much they cost. And then once we finish entering that information in, we can click save. If we've mistakenly entered this in, we can go ahead and cancel altogether or click that X to get rid of it. We've now saved this. You can still edit this row. But keep in mind that this is now what will be committed to commission records whenever it is submitted. We can add multiple. Now, in order to delete, we're going to add in I don't know much about pills, guys. I'm sorry. Maybe. Not yet saved. We can see it's not yet saved. We saw that X beside it. Saved. Now, if we wish to delete, highlight a row. Now you know that you'll click a row, it'll be highlighted. You'll know it's highlighted because you'll see it's got a bit of a darker shade. So maybe you call it low lighting it. Now, in order to delete this, just click the trash can icon. And whenever we have something being deleted or something about to be committed to commission records, we're giving the opportunity to say, are you guys sure you wish to delete? Are you guys sure you wish to submit? And we're going to select OK to continue or cancel, and the row will not be deleted. Or we can just close that out and WAG is cancel as well. So we're going to delete that row. The medical claim filing date is automatically going to be the system date. The mailing date of the bill to the insurer required. And as you'll see, we have our certification statements. Generally, they're at the bottom in our certification sign and certify section, but multiple processes have multiple different certification statements placed. I recommend that we read through these, as this has been adjusted to represent the amount billed, certifying that the bill was sent, mailed to the above named employer, insurer in compliance with COMAR. And that we must choose either no payment has been received, payment has been refused, or partial payment has been received. Now, what we just saw was called a dynamically displayed field. When we click that, when we click an option that is going to require further clarification or further information, it is going to display another text box, another drop down, whatever the applicable control is to capture that information. Now, I've entered quite a bit of information in here. And we have the upload supporting documents section here. Now, while you guys are working through this, if you guys would like to literally work through the form, you can collapse and expand any section that has this arrow right here. So you can optimize screen space by doing that. And also in the bottom, by default, it's going to show the overview and activity when you first get into a process or when you end a process. To maximize your screen space, you're going to want to hit this top right, show less, bottom left, show less. And you can, of course, bring those back out whenever you need to. So supporting documents. Generally, we allow supporting documents to be uploaded in a free-form fashion in certain processes that may ask for any sort of additional documentation that can help us process things faster. Now, this is a different process. Some of our processes, medical claims, for example, have specific required documentation. The documentation will be listed for you, and we'll have the inline instructions for the table as well. So it's requiring us to give an itemized list of service, medical records, the DME/implant invoice, and any EOBs we have. All ComPub attachments must be PDF format. In order to save as a PDF, you simply need to you can print a web page as a PDF, you can save a web page as a PDF, you can, from Microsoft Word, you can print as a PDF. From your browser, you can also do that. And if you are inside your file system, you can go and rename a file and if it's a text file, and put .pdf at the back of it, and it will change it into a PDF. We're going to click that plus button. The same way with all of our tables, that's how we're going to add our row, whether we're adding a row by entering it in or adding a row by uploading documents or by searching. We're going to click that plus icon. Services rendered. So even if, let's say we have the perfect file name and it's super self-descriptive, ComPub cannot read through every single file and tell us what's been signed and what exactly every document is. So we ask that any sort of description that you provide is clear and concise. And to make sure, you can always click on this file. It will download. Anytime we open a file, it's going to open a new tab as to not overwrite what we're working on in CompHub. Whether we're opening a file from CompHub or a file is being displayed in CompHub, when we click View, whenever we click on a document in CompHub, it will open a new tab. We will never overwrite the current tab. We won't take you out the system to view something that needs to be acted on in the system. We can, of course, still delete using the same controls. Let's go ahead and get the rest of this documentation in there. So we've done quite a bit here, attached quite a bit of documentation, entered quite a bit of information. It would be a shame if the power was to go out, I was to lose internet connection. Anything was to happen and I would just lose all of this great information and all of this stuff that has been saved or have been uploaded. Kind of get myself away there because what we're going to do is we're going to save this form. I suggest saving early and often. I've saved this. Now, maybe if I've accidentally logged off, power went out, somehow I was taken out of Compo, we're taken out of that process. You can go right back in. My information is still in there, and all my files are still in there. Certification statement, simple checkbox, electronic signature, legally binding, checkbox as well. You will see electronically signed by your name, your role in the system, and the time stamp of when you signed it. So let's go ahead and try to submit this. Looks like we had an error. The please enter amount received previously as partial payment field cannot be emptied. Well, where is that? Oh, well, when I click on it, it'll take me right to it. So if I click on it, it's going to give me a quick yellow highlight and show me that little hazard sign beside it. Now, once I enter in the data, it's going to get rid of this. Social security numbers, phone numbers, and currency, things requiring dashes and signs, all of that will be automatically formatted. If we're asking for an amount, i.e. currency, it's going to be formatted as such. Automatically formatted. And now that error is gone. So if we have any field level errors, it's best to just go through, simple click, And there we go. Our submission is ready to go. Save early and often. So at the end of our processes, we have a global form. The global form is generally the first page. If we have any documentation that's been generated, is going to be our system generated document. This is our C51. We have the certification statement, the selection, and on the second page here, we have the notification distribution list we talked about before. You can view, print, or download this at your leisure. You can print it straight from here, but we obviously recommend downloading it because if you want to view, print, download, you can view, print. Once you've already downloaded it, you can manipulate it as you wish. Downloading is always the preferred way. We'll receive a medical claim summary, and then based on the type of medical claim we've used, you will see the summary of the prescription only claim. If we were to choose a different type, it would have a different tab. So we have completed one of these scenarios. Now this has been sent to the commission. We don't have any activities on this right now. We may have some later, but there are no current activities for this. When we go back, it will no longer be in our inbox. Right now, it is in somebody and the claims division's inbox, excuse me. Let's try one more. Copy and pasting is a little interesting in CompHub. Just make sure. Sometimes may put your cursor at the beginning. Just make sure that whenever you're copying and pasting, you just click first to put your cursor at the beginning. Sometimes it can get cut off. That's not a CompHub thing. It's more of a copy and pasting thing. Can I just, let's go up the ladder. This guy gets in a lot of accidents, thank God. So we have the same as before. Claimant details pull from the claim file, as well as the user profile. This one has a healthcare provider in here, so we can see the healthcare provider details as well. Now, our medical details section is going to be different depending on what we've chosen. Last time we had the NDC. This time we have to select the type of MRA values you want displayed. Facility, medical services and treatment. We can search CPT codes. So this is where I want you guys to remember that I said before in the inbox, we can just, right here, I can just click in and just start typing away. If I click here, I'm typing. You can hear me typing. Nothing. To begin the search, please click on the magnifying glass icon. You can search based different search criteria forms depending on what entity we're searching for. Whether it be if it's an employer, we're going to look at we're going to have different fields available like location name and FEIN. If we're looking for a person, we may have the first name, last name. The criteria is going to be different depending on what we use. CompHub does return partial matches. So if you guys put in a little bit of what you have, if you have just something that starts with 3, it's going to give you everything beginning with 3. Obviously, you guys know these CPT codes a little bit better than I do. But we return partial matches because we're appending what we call the wildcard at the end of each of our searches. Now, the wildcard character should be used sparingly because the wildcard character, this percentage sign, when you search using that, going to bring up every single record that we have available. In this case, not too many. So if you know your CPT code, if you were looking for an employer, you know your FEIN, you're looking for a claim, you know your claim number. Picking something that's only going to give you one match is always preferable. Myself not being a medical expert, we're going to just use the log card here. So we've saved the CPT code here. Now you must put in the date of service, the amount billed, and any type of modifier. Now this is going to be a little bit different. We don't have this plus button, but you can add multiple CPT codes by simply searching for another. We can clear this. Clearly, I'm billing way above the suggestions. And as we see, that's automatically going to be formatted. Oh, excuse me. We have date pickers as well. Of course, we can pick the date using the calendar, or you can enter it manually using MMDDYYYY. Not my real birthday, don't try to steal my identity. We have the filing date here. Now with this one, all of these rows will be saved. Anything that we submit is going to be submitted. Once the CPT code has been entered in there, that's going to automatically have that row saved. We still have to enter something in there to submit it, but that row will not have to be saved once you enter something in that. That's automatically going to accompany your submission. We still have the ability to highlight, low light, and delete. You can click OK, or we can cancel. Or we can do nothing, which is the same as not deleting. Again, we have the medical claim filing date, system date, the mailing date, and then you'll see that we have added these two amounts for the certification. So make sure that these amounts are accurate because we are certifying that the attached bill for services rendered to the client or the claimant, client, same, was mailed to the above employer, insurer in compliance with COMAR. And then we still have our choices. I'm going to run through these ones really quick. I'm naming them test for testing purposes. Please make sure we use concise names when we actually are in the system. And please, please, please double check what we send in, because whatever you send in, that gets stored on commission materials and gets committed to commission files, commission databases. So if you don't want us to have it, please don't attach it. certify, and sign. We have our timestamp and our signature. Keep in mind, this electronic signature is legally binding, as stated in COMAR. Here we have our read-only version. Now remember that when our second tab where we have the read-only version, you can't change anything here. You'll notice everything's grayed out. You can't change anything that's been hit in here. All this has already been sent. This is the record of what has been sent already. Now that first tab, we're gonna have that PDF view for you guys, where you guys can view, download, or print. First page lists all the information that we had from the claim file, as well as our profile, certification statement, partial payment, and our electronic notification distribution list. Now, before I move on, is there anybody from the training team who would like to add anything?
Deb, you finished with the medical services claims? So, only comment I was gonna make is if there was something that needed to be returned from the medical division or support services, they would actually return it and it would wind up back in your inbox if there was something you needed to revise, change, or maybe the document was incorrect, that you need to upload a new document. But that's where your inbox is, where any task, actionable task that you're required to respond to will be in your CompHub inbox. So I just wanted to let you know those are the type of things that you'll find in the inbox because action would be required of you from there.
All right, so what is this profile this guy's been talking about so much? So when you guys first register, you guys are going to create you guys are going to provide the basic information for your profile. But as we know, life happens, things change. On your, geez, they can see everything about me on there. On your profile, it's going to let you alter. You can go to start new action, all processes, profile, update profile. Updating your profiles where you will change your name. Maybe you got married, change your name and your marriage status. All this information can be changed at any time, edited at any time, except for if you're an attorney, you may not have, you will automatically have the other options for receive electronic notifications for CompHub. It's automatically going to be a yes for you guys. We have the ability to select whether or not we'd like to receive electronic notifications from CompHub in here. And we can edit our address here. So this is extremely important for you guys, more than it is for a lot of other users, because we will be searching for you the same way that we search for any other entity, an employer. We will be searching for healthcare providers the same way. So we will need to make sure that all information is up to date. You guys will be ported over from the current system. If we have your email, that means that we have enough to get you registered, a registration email. So things will be ported over from the current system. Everything that we can port over, organizations as well as historical claims, all that stuff is going to be ported over. But this is a very valuable self-service for you guys to make sure that you have. Now we can edit our address. This is something I want to I said not. So wherever we enter addresses, we want to make sure that we're using something where we verify an address. So we have a CompHub utility verify address. Generally, you're going to see it listed. You're going to see it appear as second. You guys are generally going to see where is it? You guys are generally going to see the verify address utility. Whenever you enter an address, you want to make sure that we're clicking that to verify an address with USPS. That button in update profile has been replaced and just simply says edit address because we want to make sure that any address you're using for an official WCC business, being as we are going to be searching based off of this information, we want to make sure that it's actually conform with USPS standards. So let's go ahead and unformat this. Let's write this as I would normally write it. Jeez, they got all my stuff. Okay, just for the sake of this, so I've changed my address. Now we can go ahead and click the verify address button. So this address doesn't seem to line up right. Click verify address. We now have the USPS address, 10E Baltimore Street. It's been shortened to USPS standards. The postal code has gone from one that is completely different. This is in Anne Arundel County. And now we have the actual full length postal code. So we are going to select yes. We would like to use this address. Save. Did I change anything? Yes, I changed separated. And we can go ahead and submit. Now you want to make sure you submit this and don't just save it. If you save it, there will be an open case for it like this, just sitting around. And there's no need to have it sitting around because that could make it so that you accidentally update your profile with information you did not want to. That's a tip, is to only have one update profile at a time. If you see profile on the side, then you don't need to open the update new profile task. You already have one open. So that is where a lot of our stuff is going to come from. A lot of our information is going to get pulled from there. As we saw before, we had things get pulled about a requester, about the claimant attorney, my signature at the bottom. All of that is coming from my profile in CompHub. The rest of it that's pre-filled is coming from the claim file. So let's talk about organizations in CompHub. So we have two different processes. This first one, we will have to get you guys a video or a more extensive manual. And it is the manage organization details. So with that process, you're going to be able to manage an organization. going to take you to a form where you're going to find the organization or decided to request a new one. You can add or manage the existing information. Add locations, or it looks like I have the wrong copy of this one. So we can go ahead and search for our healthcare provider that's been pulled up. We can choose, we can put in the NPI number, we can add employer locations, we can put in the phone number, the email, and the address. And of course, we want to verify that address because that is commission records. When we search for organizations, we're going to be pulling from that. So the organization type here is healthcare provider. We, of course, have all sorts of different organization types. This is the main one we're going to be focused on. So you can add information. You can add or manage existing information. If you submit a request and you, on the search form, there will be an option for a new record when you select the organization type. So you can always select a new record. That will have to go through to the claims division, and they will look at that and validate that request, verify that request before we add any sort of organization to our records. Now, assigning representatives. That's under, come on now. Administrate, assign organization representatives. Now I'm currently with AIU. So how that would go, we would start and select our organization type and search for that organization, employer, insurer, or healthcare provider. So CompHub is going to display any existing representatives that we already have. If I drag this thing. It's going to display anybody that's already a representative and their type. We have subscriber. So when you first look that up, it's going to display any existing representatives that we already have in there. Now, if we want to add a new one, we can find or define the user and their assignment type. Now, when I say find, we can go ahead and search for them. So if I was to go ahead and click assign a new user, I could go ahead and try to find them with their first, last, or primary email address. As we said, primary email address is always going to give us one. So it's a lot easier to use one that's going to give us one result. But I don't know if I can take my own email address. So we're going to just choose Eduardo Duran Santiago. And we can choose for insurers, we can choose designee. Now, if we want a new user altogether, we're going to have to define that new user. We'll still define that assignment type. We'll define that new user by putting in all of their information and their contact information as well. Once you put that in, you input that in, that person is going to receive an email whenever we're assigning somebody anything. And we put an email in and they're not registered using the CompHub, we're still going to email them what has been done, as well as a registration link, because specifically if we're assigning a user as part of your organization, they're going to be in CompHub. So they'll be registering for CompHub rather, if they are not already a part of CompHub, already signed up and registered. So somebody can register on their own, and somebody else from your organization can go ahead and add them through this self-service if they've already registered. But they don't have, geez, this is all of us. But they don't have any role in CompHub yet. Well, we can go ahead and assign them to our designee, as a designee to our In this case, it being an insurer, AIU, with our NCCI number right there. In you guys' case, you guys will be choosing the type of assignment right here. We have subscriber chosen. And the user that actually made that was a delegate. And we have the ability to also revoke them. So to edit a representative, we can just click the row to select it, and then we can press the edit icon. To create one, we're just going to assign the user as we did before. We can revoke their rights and get rid of them from if they're no longer working in that capacity. We can use that revoke checkbox and submit that form, and that will take them out of being a representative for that organization. That is the basics of how organizations function in Compub. As I said earlier, we're going to go a little bit deeper into this. We're going to give you guys some more comprehensive user manuals because these are administrative self-services. So we want to make sure that we give you guys some comprehensive information. Unfortunately, in the training environment, that's not as easily done, as I currently am not representing a healthcare provider. I'm representing AIU. But that is the basics of how we're going to manage organizations in Compub. Went a little bit out of order for you guys. One thing I forgot to mention earlier, claims. Controversion is simple as one click now. When the insurer receives the order nisi, they have the option to select whether or not they would like to controverse the order nisi issued. Once that's been, it's either going to be a result of the medical directors or the support services verification. After that point, the case will come back to an insurer representative or a designee. Representative, a designee being a type representative. Sorry, I don't want to cause any confusion there. So if they select yes, it's going to dynamically display a field where they will have to put in the reason. If they select no, things will continue along the process's happy path. We call it the happy path because happy path does not throw any exceptions or add anything else to the process. It is the critical path, the quickest way through the process. Anybody from the training team have anything to add before I go to request for access, our final one for the day? Okay. Hope I didn't use up all my claims for this. We're going to go to all processes, claims, claim access request. Wait. Let's see. No, that was not active before. Nope, I'm in that one as an attorney. Jeez, this guy's an attorney everywhere. There we go. So I'm requesting access. As a claimant attorney, I already have access. So let me just show you what that would look like if somebody was to try to request access to something they already have access to. I'm already registered as a party to this claim because Mr. Maxwell right there is the claimant attorney. So, like I said, we have checks and balances on both sides to make sure that we're not entering anything bad, any bad submissions, and we're making sure that everything up front is in an acceptable state. I done lost which one I was going to use.
I think it was a 10. No.
July Andrews. 10 works. All right. Submit. Wait, what? All right, Miss Andrews, it's your turn. All right. I didn't want to use one because we have a claimant whose name is claimant-1, but this suspend our disbelief for a second. So we've selected this claim. It's going to show us the basics, the claim number, the accident date, the claimant last name, and the claimant attorney. We want to make sure that that's correct. We want to review that to make sure we've actually selected the right claim that we want access to. So with that information, we need to make sure that that's actually the correct claim. If we're treating the claimant through a specific organization, we can enter it here by clicking the plus icon. Now, this is why it's important to make sure that we have those providers, organizations updated. We can search by provider name, street, city, postal code. Wildcard will give me everything. As we can see, that is quite a bit, about 830. We're going to save. And now we'll have this available. We can add additional organizations, or we can delete the one we have existing. Now, we always, of course, we need to have a justification in here. So that is something that we have that is required. So this is used to facilitate, this form is used to facilitate some sort of medical treatment. So proper medical care for an injured worker. So we're going to be able to request access to this claim, and it's going to last for 180 days if it's approved. So we're going to need to give a pretty compelling reason why we need to do that. We can't just enter, we need access to, well, you can just enter, I need access to facilitate medical. But that's up to the claims division on whether they think that's a good enough reason or not. So we want to be as clear and concise as possible when entering our reasons. The last thing we want is for this to get rejected because we didn't put enough information and then go right back and have to revise it and send it all over again. We always ask you be clear. Clear includes checking spelling. Edge already has it built in. We have Grammarly. Any sort of thing you can use Grammarly will work in Compub. So if you guys are Grammarly users, that will work. Edge automatically, as you can see, will plug it in and let me know. And we have quite a bit of space for you guys to use here. So do not be shy about the reasons. It's also not to be said not to drag things out. We want it to be clear, concise, meaning we want all of the information that we need, but nothing else. And it needs to be actionable. In this case, the action is that we need the claims division to be compelled enough by this to grant us access to this claim. So these certification statements are going to be a little bit different here. So these are brand new ones. So the first certification statement says they're making an application to request access to a specific claim in order to facilitate medical treatment for the injured worker. I acknowledge that I am bound by the terms of service for the role of healthcare practitioner within ComPub, including maintaining the confidentiality of all claim information in accordance with all federal and state statutory and regulatory requirements. This one also unique. I understand that if approved, the claim access is going to expire after 180 days unless a new request is approved within the 180-day time period. So if you figure that you are going to need access for more than 180 days, it's probably better to do that sooner than later so that your access does not lapse. Once this gets submitted, it's immediately going to go to the claims division's inbox, and you can expect turnaround within a business day or two, if that. So if you are coming up on 180 days, you want to make sure that you get inside that window and access, file a new request for access during that window so that your access to that is not interrupted, and because that could lead to, the facilitation of medical treatment not being properly done. So we want to make sure that we're doing whatever we can to make sure we retain access for as long as we need it. If we don't need it for any longer than 180 days, then we're good. And then, of course, the bottom one is always going to be our electronic signature. Name, role, timestamp. So this is the global form. Now notice that this one does not have a PDF attached to it, just a read-only version. The PDF will be generated once that has been approved by the claims division. And that can look a little bit like this. You'll get an email letting you know, an e-notification letting you know that that your request for access has been granted. You'll be able to click in and see this PDF view. This PDF view is going to allow you to view, download, print this document, the healthcare practitioner request for claim access. This is it in its entirety. It's going to have your filing date, the claim number, the accident date, the claimant name, and claimant attorney, if there is one. Your healthcare practitioner, all of this stuff, like I said, pulled directly from your profile. So make sure that that is always up to date because that will be on official commission correspondence. The reason for the request gets carried over. We have the certificate of service and the electronic signature. So once the claims division finishes that one, finishes reviewing and verifies that, instead of seeing just this page, you will see that PDF in front of it, and you will see this as the second page. So that PDF will be generated upon completion. So that's another thing to go back to when we're looking at the inbox. So the inbox is, we talk about activities, this activity is now gone now. It's no longer in our inbox. We finished our activity. That does not mean that just because we finished our activity that the process is done. In fact, there are processes where activities may end up coming back to you. Before I go to finish it off with termination of medical, would anybody from the training team like to add anything? Hey. Start new action, all processes. Now this, if we have any attorneys on the line, this is for you guys. This one, no. 10. So we have the medical benefits here. We've got the employer insurer. Now this is a one-step, one-form process. We're essentially just submitting this to the commission. There won't be back and forth between you and the commission in Compub regarding this. Anything will take place outside of the scope of Compub. So we're going to advise that the insurer employer will terminate payment for medical benefits under this above caption claim effective. And we obviously are not going to let you choose a date in the past. We're going to make sure that it's either going to be one day in the future and further on. So the claimant has a right to request the hearing before WCC on the issue of the termination of these benefits. So it's important to enter the healthcare provider for which treatment or service is being terminated. Healthcare provider, we've added that in. Service terminated. Please suspend your disbeliefs. And we can add more. And we have the ability to also delete the same way we would delete out of any other table. We're not going to, we're going to go ahead. Now we have this is where we have the ability to upload any attachments we want to. We can upload any sort of miscellaneous attachments, anything that you guys think is going to help out. Anything that's going to help us on our end, anything that's going to help us understand your submission, help us get anything processed quicker, whatever, anything that can support being our operative word here, anything that can support your submission, you want to make sure you include. Like I said, just because something is not required, not mandatory, does not mean you should not be putting the information in there. We're going to use a test one to go through this. Certification of service, certification statement, electronic signature, saved, just in case, you never know. And we're going to submit. And here we have the PDF view of the termination of medical benefits. All the information we have has been mapped right to this PDF. The date we entered in, the services we terminated, and everything that we signed. Any PDF documentation, any supporting documentation will be right here. This was the PDF I uploaded as a test. And the last page is going to be the notification distribution list. Got quite a few people that are going to require notification by the following party via mail or other service. Second tab is going to be your termination of medical benefits. Read-only version of what we just did. Can't add anything, can't edit anything. We can look at our PDFs, but keep in mind, the commission already has that now. So it's a little late if we wanted to check it. As you can see, all the controls are grayed out, meaning they're read-only. And claim documents, that's available to the attorneys. They'll be able to see the termination of medical benefits, the document that was created, and any documentation. The blue one is always going to be the most recent one. The most recent version of that document, rather. As we know, when things change in the claim, another notice of claim may be sent out. So the blue is going to be the most recent version. And it's going, for many of these, it's going to show for notice of claim, it's going to show that it has been a corrected copy or it is a subsequent copy. So we have this in the claim file, claim documents for if there's any attorneys on, that is your access to the claim file in any process. I have finished with the processes that we were going to be showing today. If anybody from the training team would like to add anything. Ms. Cornish.
Yes, thanks. Thank you, Devin. I just wanted of the process that you just reviewed. If you're anyone who's registered in ComPub and signs up for e-notifications, they will receive that termination of medical benefits letter. They'll receive that electronically. That's why that second page identified at the top who's getting it electronically, and the bottom is now the commission will automatically send the electronic ones if the individuals are signed up and registered for e-notifications. The other bottom portion would be the filing party's responsibility to mail that to the parties at hand. So I just want to make mention of that. One other item is just for your, for your information. So our subpoena process with the commission is now we have an electronic process. So the subpoenas specifically that the medical group would receive would be the medical request for medical subpoenas. When you receive those, because they're now electronic through our system, you may get them with a wet signature, an electronic signature, or typed signature. All of those are equally legally acceptable. So we just wanted to kind of put that out there so when you get them, they've already been vetted through the system, and those are going to be likely what you receive in your offices when someone's requesting medical records for your patient. So just wanted to plant that little seed. So again, as Devin mentioned, that was the last of our processes that we went